Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Jazz Confusion Power Hour. I'm Mel Albin. I'll be your host tonight, and I want to just tell you a little bit about Source Radio Network. Source Radio Network is devoted to jazz confusion, and we call it confusion because it's not just jazz fusion, it's really jazz crossover, jazz reggae, jazz gospel, jazz country, anything that connects to jazz that we can bring into different communities. And we also are here to really help promote Black and minority businesses. And that's what Source Radio Station is about. We started the Power Hour because there were so many wonderful artists that, that are still in the R&B and jazz area. Since most stations have moved to urban music, it's very hard for people to hear these wonderful American legends that we bring to you every week. This week we have a very special guest and a wonderful person and an influential and important artist, Maysa Leak. I'm going to bring Maysa on. I don't want to take up any more time, and I think you're going to enjoy Maysa tremendously. So stay tuned, and I'll bring in Maysa, and we'll start the show. Welcome, Maysa.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much, Mel.
Good. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you, and I
I've been
appreciate
following
it.
I've been following your career since the 1990s, and
Oh,
um,
long
you
time
have
then, even
turned
from the beginning.
yeah, and you've turned out, in my mind, such memorable music that
Thank
you really are an American icon, and
oh,
you are, and the generation today needs to connect with the kind of music, the R&B, the jazz that you represent. And I want everyone to get to know you, and get to know more
oh,
about what your music really means, and why you create what you create. So
okay.
let me put something up here for you.
Hmm.
Um, let me pull this up 1 second. You know, I should have had this up already, everybody. So here we go.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
this is what I want to start off with. I want to start off,
Mhm.
Mesa, talking to you about where I want everyone to go, and that's to listen to your incredible new LP coming out, Music for Your Soul, and the
Mhm.
wonderful track, the single that is out there, whatever. So
Mhm.
why don't you tell us a little bit about whatever and about Music for Your Soul, and is this a continuation of the music you've been wor- putting out for years, or is this something different?
Well, I think it's the album "Music for Your Soul" is kind of it's a mixture of a little bit. It's mostly who I am as far as being a jazz funk soul singer. That's who I am, and so I mixed a little bit that with R&B and a little bit of Afro beat and some house music and things like that. I just kind of felt with this album, it's my 14th solo album, and it's on my own record label. The first album, first full length album I'm releasing on it. So I wanted to be special. I've been working on it for 3+ years, almost four, and it's a labor of love. And I just, it took me a long time to finish it because I had to, save money from every concert I've done since 2019 to pay for the album. It was expensive record to do because I have 19 songs on it, and the reason why I have 19 songs is uh, because as a record label owner, I have to build catalog for my company, uh, and also the main reason why is because I just wanted to do an old fashioned long playing album because right now in the industry they're telling everybody to do EPs, 4 or 5, 6 songs, sell that, and then do another 4 or 5, 6 songs. 6 months later, and do another 4 or 5, 6 songs. And I just didn't want to do that. I want to do like when we were coming up, we could lay on the floor, lay on the sofa, and put headphones on, listen to an album for an hour and 20 minutes, and just be in heaven. Just listen to the energy, get all the great vibes from listening to a full record. Um, and so I kind of that's what I grew up on, and that's what I wanted to return to. So I kind of always do stuff opposite everybody else anyway, and so I thought I'd try that out for this time. The single "Whatever" is my third single from this album. The first two that I released earlier this year was a double single on Valentine's Day, a double single called "Make Sure You're Sure," which is a remake from Stevie Wonder's Jungle Fever soundtrack, and then an R&B song called "Just Stay." So I wanted to do like a jazz side and an R&B side. It's a double album, double single. And this song, "Whatever," was written by David Dyson, the bass player David Dyson. Sent it to me about 2 years now, 2 years ago. Sent me the song, and at first I was a little leery of it because of the lyrics. The lyrics sounded kind of young for me, and so, but I had the lyricist. She changed a few lines that kind of made it more comfortable for me to sing, and I just love the sentiment of the song. Just letting somebody know that you have their back no matter what, and that you're gonna help them be happy, and you got their back. And so I love that sentiment. And then also the music. We also had assistance by my longtime producer Chris Big Dog Davis. Added some additional production. Kenny Allen from the group Spur of the Moment was a co-writer, and like I said before, the young singer Charmaine Greaves, who also sang background on it. A new up and coming singer who's just beautiful, and she co-wrote the song also. So I'm glad we chose this. I decided to put my money into making the video. And I invested the money that way because I thought if I put the video out, then radio would come along, and that seems to be what's happening right now. So I'm glad we chose that strategy. The video's doing well. We're doing an instructional video. It reached the steppers of the world. They love the song so much. So it's all I love making music for steppers because they just really appreciate it, and it's it's music for everybody, and I'm just excited about the whole album.
Oh, that's terrific. And whatever is really such a great track. I've listened to it dozens and dozens of times
That's
already. In
good.
fact, yeah, and I don't know if you know, but whatever is in our music rotation on
Oh,
the
nice.
station. It's
Thank
played,
you.
yeah, it's played regularly. So
Oh,
it's just a
wow.
great track. So I wanted to start off with that, but let's go back and I want everybody to know about this. It's just such a wonderful song and a great album.
Mhm.
But what I want to do is go back and talk a little bit about how does someone like you get into music to begin with. You have
Wow,
you
wow.
have a wonderful you have a wonderful voice, and I'm not just blowing smoke. I mean, you truly have a wonderful voice, and you have
Thank you.
this low quality in your voice, and very sultry, and just beautiful harmonics. No, you do. I know you
Oh,
might be
wow.
embarrassing for you, but it's true, and it's
No,
a
I
rarity
appreciate
in
it.
so many singers. So, I do know that my station is in D.C. and the sister
Oh,
city
yeah.
is Baltimore, and that's where you were born and raised
Mhm.
in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
So, how did you get started in music? I know that around 6 years old, it said in your
Mhm.
bio that you decided you wanted to
Mhm.
be a vocalist. I mean, did you wake up one day at 6 and say, "I got it. I'm going to be a singer"?
Right.
I mean,
Well,
I
what
mean,
happened was my mom took me to see Pearlie, to play Pearlie, and Melba Moore came out on stage, and all the
oh,
lights and the costumes and the dancing and the set. When all the lights came up and she came out and started singing, and then when the play started, I just like my heart grew like 15 times, and I was like, "Oh my God, I got it! I want to do this! I want to do this!" I remember looking at but my mom just grinning, and just being so happy in that space, knowing that I wanted to make people feel the way were making me feel that moment. I was young enough to, I mean, I was so young, but I knew that's what I wanted. And
that's
so
great.
prior to that, my mom told me that whoever would come to the house, knock on the door, I would run into the door and just start dancing and singing for everybody came in. And it's so she said she knew I was going to be a singer then. But at
So
6,
is
when
it
she took me to see Pearlie, I decided at that moment. And it's from that point I did a lot of theater, high school, junior high school, a lot of um, what do you call it? Talent contests. Did some dinner theater. And I did a lot of things like that to keep it going. Uh, I auditioned for the Grand Ole Opry, got turned down. I remember that. Never forget that. but I'm kind of glad I did because I stayed at Morgan and I was able to meet Stevie Wonder because one of my best friends on the Morgan State University choir, Kimberly Brewer, was already singing with him. And when he came to Morgan to do the celebration for Martin Luther King's birthday, she asked Stevie if I could audition. He was looking for an alto type voice like mine, and he held audition. We did the audition at his hotel in the conference room. They had set up all these keyboards, and I was so intimidated. I'll never forget that audition. It was probably the scariest day of my life. And then so I sang, and then he had Kim sing with me, and then we harmonized, and then I did solo stuff, and then I did all these chords. Melodies and harmonies, and it was just a lot. So and I passed the audition, but I asked Stevie. I said, Stevie, I have one more year left at Morgan. Could I please finish my degree and then come to California? And of course, all my friends on the choir were like, "Are you crazy? Like you pass a
Sure.
with Stevie Wonder? It's like you can't tell Stevie what you want to do." I did, and he was so gracious and so sweet about it. He's like, "Yeah, come on out next year when you finish. We'll have something for you to do." And when I got there, he was working on the Jungle Fever soundtrack, and so my very first professional gig was singing background on These Three Words.
That's great. That's
Mhm.
terrific. I know also that you had entered. You mentioned talent contest, and you won a talent contest. You placed second on a Billie Holiday vocal jazz
Mhm.
contest. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah.
you know, I,
I remember that.
yeah,
That was amazing. That whole thing was just amazing. And I remember being so nervous, but I enjoyed being in that contest.
that it's one of the things about Morgan State, and it's really wonderful. They have a spectacular choir that's
Oh
internationally
yeah.
known, and you were classically
Mhm.
trained at Morgan, and
Mhm.
Morgan presents these opportunities to people like Stevie Wonder comes there. Stevie Wonder
Mhm.
is on my bucket list. That's
Oh
somebody
wow.
I'd give anything to sit down with him for 10 minutes.
Oh wow.
But by the way, just so you know, Elton John, who's retiring, is going to be on my show for 10 minutes in
What?
January. Yeah,
Oh,
he
that's
said he'd give me
amazing.
he's going to give me 10 minutes. Yeah, but
Oh,
I'd
that's
love to
great.
talk with Stevie. I mean, he
Oh
that
yeah.
I
We'd have to
songs
find
in the
figure that out.
yeah, songs in the key of life. I used to play
Mhm.
that. I played that LP till I wore out the record.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
That's what it is. See, that's what the experience that these kids to me don't have to this day. Like they don't have that. Sometimes I mean there's some artists that put out long records, long playing records. So they do. I guess they do have some experience with that. But I don't know if they know the joy of just sitting still and basking in
yes.
the whole energy of the record.
Oh, Mesa, you said that's so well said because,
Mhm.
I miss that. Everything's
Mhm.
streamed in
Mhm.
in little bites,
Mhm.
and you don't get the same feeling for what the artist wants you to understand about what they're bringing to you. You only hear one little
Right.
sound bite. And you're missing the whole experience, and you're right about that. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Okay.
Mhm.
So you were on the Jungle Fever soundtrack.
Mhm.
Okay.
On several
And
songs. Yep.
you must so you went out to California. That's the first time you're away from
Mhm.
Baltimore for an extended period of time. So
Yeah,
how
for
was that?
extended
What
period
that?
of time. Yeah, that was scary. It was a little bit scary. My Kim was out there, so it was okay. It was kind of fun, adventurous. I was 20, 23, 24 years old. I was, a kid. I was 23, I think, when I went out there. And I was, I don't know, brave in a sense and just ready for my life to change, ready to get to the point where I was going to be a singer and that people were going to, start to know my name and start to pay for, my records. And I wanted to make records and I wanted to tour and I wanted to go on stage. So all these things were coming, dreams were coming true kind of quickly. So when I was out there in LA, and Stevie had a big Brazilian tour he was going on, he took all the older uh members of Wonderlove, and I was a newbie, so I wasn't asked to go. So I had to figure out what I was going to do. So I did a lot of session work for other people. I did I did a lot. I taught voice. I taught a girl group. I worked at the May Company, which is like Macy's, and then I worked at
Yeah.
a warehouse music store. So I did had a lot of jobs out there trying to survive in LA and North Hollywood actually. And so um, I was on a session for a guy named Stephen Harvey. He's a drummer from Scotland, and he told me one day. He said, "Mesa, one of my best friends has a group in England called Incognito, and they're looking for a new American singer. Would you like to audition? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So when Steve sent Bluey the 25 names of 25 singers, Bluey looked at the list and said, I can't choose. He said, which one of these women would you leave your kids to? And he said, and Steve, he chose me. He said me. So that's why I got to the top of the list, and Bluey called me
Oh,
first.
wow.
And
Yeah.
then yeah, we spoke on the phone for, I don't know, an hour or so, and I sang Don't You Worry About a Thing to him, and then he asked me, he said, change the key and sing it again, and I did. And so he said, well, we're going to call you in a week or so, let you know when your audition is. We're going to bring you over to England for your audition. And then when the next morning I woke up to a phone call, and his manager said, Maysa, I don't know what you sang to Bluey, but you got the gig, so we're not going to look for anybody else. And so I moved to England about 3 weeks later, and I closed my apartment out in California, sent all my stuff home UPS, and got on the plane and went to England. And as soon as I got there, they took me to the studio, and I heard the first song, Changes, from the album Tribes, Vibes, and Scribes. When they played that song for me, I knew my life was going to change. I love the music so much. I love what you do for me. Change. There's so much music. Don't you worry about a thing. All these songs
Yeah.
that were amazing, and so I was very happy that I made that choice.
Yeah, like many other artists before you, they found success in the UK and in the EU, and more
Hmm.
success and more appreciation than
Hmm.
many artists get in our own country, which is really
Hmm.
sad. But
Hmm.
I'm sure you've had the same experience. You were so well received over there, and
Yes.
I mean, why is that? Why is American music, jazz, R&B, blues, soul, why is it more
Mhm.
appreciated there than here? Because it's our music.
Well, at the time, it's just a love for it. It's a love and respect for the music that's incredible. And also, at that time, in the United States, there was that Milli Vanilli stuff going on, and it was all about how you looked over here. I mean, it's since had gone over to England after that. It kind of seeped its way over there too. But at the time when I first got there in the early '90s, it was all about the love of soul. Just the soul music was huge over there. And I remember, excuse me, I remember Stevie took me. I mean, Stevie. I remember Bluey took me to
Mhm.
a club, nightclub, and because he wanted me to hear the vibes of what's going on in England, and they played the song "As" by Stevie Wonder, right? And so the song went off, and I thought, oh, that's nice. We danced to the song; it was cool. The floor was packed, and all of a sudden it comes back on again, and the floor stayed, and the people went crazy. And then after that, they played one more time. They said they played it 3 times in a row. It was like, wow, they love Stevie, they love soul, they love this energy, a vibe that can never be duplicated. And I think over here, we got caught up in at that time image and the wrong thing. People wanted to just make money. They would start thinking about just making money, not about delivering great music to people to help them through their lives, which is what music is supposed to be. Music is love. And so the good music is love. And so when try to capitalize on it in a huge way, bigger than ever, by putting images and all that stuff around it, where you have to look a certain way, you have to be a certain way.
Yes.
It was sad. And so that was the focus over here. But like I said, eventually it got over there too, but it didn't last too long because England still, I think London especially, still are, but they're all about the music.
Yeah, another thing about our culture is always about new. We have no sense, we
Hmm.
really don't have a good sense of history or good sense of the past.
Hmm.
We don't value traditions the way they're valued in older countries like France or the
Hmm.
UK. And so,
Hmm.
everybody wants new. So the minute another trend pops up, everybody's pushed to the side for the new trend.
Right,
And so
right,
you never develop any continuity. There's no continuity in our
right,
music. And
right.
and then you have people that I love, like recently John Batiste, who's
Hmm.
really sampling that old music, and he's a classically trained
Hmm.
pianist, just like you're
Hmm.
trained. And
Hmm.
there's still people out there like Bruno Mars who samples, all the old music from the 50s and
Hmm.
60s, And
Mhm.
it's nice to see there are still some young artists that understand the tradition, the roots, and and where they came from in terms of music. They don't just
Mhm.
move on to the latest trends. So I
Right.
think it's that happens a lot more in the UK and in Europe. Here it's rare. Here we have to point to a John Batiste or Bruno Mars, but over there
Right.
there's lots of it. So so
Yeah.
yeah, so you've been so successful. Then you did
Mhm.
Incognito, and then you
Mhm.
did another album. You did a couple with them, and then you came back here, I think in '93 or '94,
95,
and
90, end of 94. Yeah, my father passed away in September 94. I mean, yes, September 94. So I came back home to be with my mom and move back home. And then I did, but at the same time, as soon as before I left to come back home, uh, we were at the North Sea Jazz Festival, and a man named Carl Griffin walked up to me after the show. And he said, "Hey, Mace, are you ready for your solo career?" And I was like, "Huh?"
there we go.
And so they flew me to New York and signed me to GRP Records on the Blue Thumb label, and it was just magical. Like that kind of stuff was happening to me. That the first 5 years of my career basically were all just like back to back magic. And then I started that album entitled Maysa. We did strings at Abbey Road. We did I mean, it's such a beautiful, beautiful work of art that album was, and it was so well received. Still is to this day. And
I remember I
that
remember your
started my
song. What
ball
about
rolling.
What about our
Uh
love? I
huh.
remember that song,
Uh
and that became
huh.
yeah, and that became one of
Oh
your
yeah.
first big hit singles, right?
Oh yeah. Working with
Yeah.
Mr. Ray Hayden. Ray Hayden is a very special producer, and yeah, he did that. Written by Rex Rideout and Ronnie Garrett and another gentleman. But so yeah, it was a big single for me.
Yeah, and this is now there's something I want to get into that, and I
Hmm.
want to know. I'm really curious about this, so maybe you'll
Hmm.
answer some questions that I have in my mind. Um,
Hmm.
you went on a tear. You started producing one album after another, and and they were all such high quality, but you
Hmm.
produced All My Life in 2000, Out of the Blue in
Hmm.
2002, Smooth
Hmm.
Sailing in 2004, Sweet Classic
Hmm.
Soul. The Beatles produced 5 albums in 5 years, but so did Mesa.
Yeah, oh
They
yeah,
had
I
this
was on the
great
road for a
create.
minute there. And it's
Yeah,
so
they
funny
had this
because I
great
did it. The first album was 95, and then I didn't do another album till like 2000. 'Cause I worked on
Mhm.
that first album, kept me working for those 5 years. It really did. My first solo album kept me working for a long time, and then we started doing them back to back, just because I was trying to build my career. And you know, it's just amazing. I was speaking with someone the other day about my discography is just huge. It rivals a lot of. I mean, really, a lot of people don't have haven't done as much work as I have done, and even though they may have been more popular publicly, um, my catalog will always back me up because I have a lot. Not only my work with Incognito, almost like 18 hours with Incognito, and 14 solo albums, and then all the guest appearances I've done over the years. So I'm quite proud of all of that.
No, yeah, that's why I said when I said you're an American icon, I wasn't
Oh,
just being gratuitous. No, you really are
right.
because you do have this body of work. Your discography is unbelievable, and
Hmm.
so you did 5 albums. You took a break for about 2 years, and you did five more
Hmm.
albums. And you know, how how do you do it, Mesa, creatively? I mean,
Hmm.
how do you go from one album, the next album? You don't want to be repetitious, but
Right.
where do you get the thought when you go to you finish one album and you're producing so many and you go to the next
Hmm.
one? How do you structure it in your mind what you want to do next?
Um, well, I think um it's all inspiration. All of his inspiration. It's whatever I'm going through at the time has been my biggest inspiration. This is so funny. The latest album, the new one coming out, um, was I think I've sung about heartbreak a lot in my life because I've been brokenhearted so many times. But this album was all the songs that I chose, the songs that I was writing, they all were geared toward a happy love. And I think I needed to help me manifest that right person in my life. I needed to start speaking him into existence. So I think that my thoughts of I've been happily single for the last 11 years. And so I, I think that I'm just thinking that if, in the future, if I do date someone else, that it will be the right person. And so, and to think of all the happiness I'll have and it'll make up for all the sadness I've been through. So this album has a lot of songs of love, not only just about romantic love, but also spiritual love, also love of self and those kind of things. So it all those albums, all my albums have been inspirational. I think I've done a pretty good job at choosing songs too. I've been my own A&R person for quite a long time, and I think when I hear a good song and I can connect to it, then I probably will record it. So it's just been a beautiful, amazing blessing from God that He watches over me, and He sends me music that is just something that'll help everybody, that helps somebody in some way. And I think Music for Your Soul has something on it for everybody. Somebody, not everything is going to be 19 songs. It might be hard for everybody to love all of them, but in my opinion, they will, because I have 19 great songs on this album.
That's terrific.
Mhm.
When you talk about song selection and A&R,
Mhm.
one of my friends, Macy Gray, her song
I love
selection is
Macy Gray.
I love Macy, and her song
Mhm.
selection. She never met a song she didn't like. And
Right, right.
Macy will sing anything, alternative, gospel, but
Oh
when she does
man.
it, she makes it her own, and that's one of the things I wanted to
Mhm.
say about some of the covers that you do. You know,
Mhm.
I found on a lot of your LPs, your covers were as good or better than the originals, and
Oh,
a lot of cases better. And
thank you.
I mean,
Oh,
that's what,
man.
and again, that's why I brought up Macy, because she has an uncanny ability to do that also. And now, of
Mhm.
course, your voices are decidedly different, but in terms
Mhm.
of song selection,
Mhm.
I've always admired when I listen to your albums, how
Mhm.
the variety of music
Mhm.
that you put on an album, and that and
Mhm.
how well you can move from one particular genre to another on the same album, and it
Mhm.
all fits together. So it's a real talent. It's not just singing. That's another thing
Thank
too. A
you.
lot of people think, oh, all you do is go out and sing. No,
Mm-mm.
that's the
No,
easy.
no, I wear many hats.
That's yeah. Going out to sing is the easy part.
Right. That is the easy
Every
part. It's the
It's
rest of it
everything
that's
else.
so.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
but you kept turning out albums, and finally you turned out in 2013 an album that now bears the name of your record label, Blue Velvet,
Mhm. Mhm.
and you turned out Blue Velvet Soul. That was your 10th album, and you often
Mhm.
describe that album up to that point as your best work. What
Mhm.
was different about Blue Velvet Soul?
Um, I think I freed my mind on that album. I freed myself up from trying to conform with or try to be. Uh, I don't know. Not try. I never did try to be anybody else or try to sound like anybody else or worry about too much. I just think that album had something special on it. It's a spiritual thing I really can't even describe, but it felt like, it's so funny. It was so frustrating. It was the most frustrating record I was making at the time, and I remember sitting with Big Dog, and I was like, Big Dog, because I was just in this frame of mind, like, I'm so tired. Like, I keep putting out this music, I keep doing this, trying to make this high quality music, and nobody's really recognizing it, and it's like it's so frustrating. So, like, for instance, I think that I Try is on that album, I believe. Is that right? Was that?
Yes, I
Wait, I
think
gotta
it
check and
is.
see. Yeah, I think one of the songs. But anyway, so when I asked Big Dog, I said, "What the Big? I want to do this Nancy Wilson song for my uncle. Wanted me to redo Quiet Fire." And he's never really asked me. So I said, I'm gonna do it for my uncle. And so I was like, really, you want to do that? That's just not really your vibe. And I was like, yeah, it's not. So let me just try. I'm gonna go for it anyway. Try to do something different. And so it's so funny to get nominated for a Grammy for that song. It was just like, just totally amazing. And my uncle like followed my uncle's advice, and there you go. There's your Grammy. So I mean, Grammy nomination. And to me, it's all the same. To the nomination to me is the same thing to me. It's just like it's amazing. So um, that's one of the reasons why the album means a lot to me too. That's why I named my record label after that album, because I got the Grammy nomination and my one and only Grammy nomination for that so far. I say so far. I hope.
you got more coming. Don't worry about that.
Also,
There'll be more. You know,
mm,
I have a song I want you to put on one of your albums. I want you
okay.
to remake. I want you to remake the song by Etta James. I'd rather go blind. I think you would kill that
Oh
song.
wow. Well, you know what?
I think you would.
I'm definitely working on a I'm working on a straight ahead album. That's what we're trying to figure out who the producers are going to be and the musicians and the song selection is what I've really taken my time with. But I would love to do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I think about you, I just want you to know, I think about people like Etta James.
Mm-hmm.
Because she had a huge body of work like you do, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why I know you. I know it's hard sometimes to talk about yourself, but you've given so much to so many people, and your music, is really legendary. And you know,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Of course, Grammys are political as well as
Mhm.
musical, and
Mhm.
I mean, I think there's more coming up. So you know,
Thank
we'll
you.
talk.
So
Yeah,
to God's
yeah.
ears, bro, for real.
That, okay, let's talk more about some of your other music so we can get back to today in a few minutes. Um,
Mhm.
you turned out a Christmas album, a very Mesa Christmas.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that album. Big Dog, Chris Big
Yeah,
Dog Davis did the most amazing arrangements on that album. It does say that
yeah,
sometimes when his anointing is beyond amazing, and so I just love every arrangement that he did, and I enjoy recording it. And it's just like a classic now. It's like everybody they love. They say they listen to the album all year long sometimes. So it's like hopefully in a few years, I'm trying to raise the money now, but I'm going to be able to. I had a deal with Shawnee Entertainment that after I sold 20,000 albums, the record would revert to me and I will own it. So I got
terrific.
like maybe 5 or 7,000 more dollars to go, and I think I'll own the record. So and I'll put it on Blue Velvet Soul. And what I'll do is I'll add some more songs to it and re-release the whole thing.
Well, that would be great. That's a
Mhm.
spectacular album. I always love that one. And
Mhm.
this to me, this is another burst of your creativity. You did in
Mhm.
2014 a very Mesa Christmas, and you followed that up
Mhm.
in 2015 with Back to Love, when you had Phil
Mhm.
Perry and
Mhm.
Stokely on there from In Condition. Why don't you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about that song, that album, CD,
Oh wow,
album,
that was great fun.
Back to Love.
And
Yeah,
doing those videos, we did a video of the song "Keep It Moving" with Stokely. Had a ball with him. I've had great duet partners, Duelle and Will Downing, and people like that on my records. And so um, on the new one, just so I won't forget, a new one I have quite a few duets on that too. So I can't wait for everybody to hear those. But I think so. That album with Phil Perry, of course, is like unbelievably the
yeah.
king. I mean, he's like he's the king of vocals, and so I was honored that he co-wrote that song with me. I remember singing him the melody and the lyrics to the chorus, and then like a day or so he came back with the verses, and then we just went right in and recorded it, and it was like magic. And now that video, we just did a simple video from a concert video, and uh and now it's at one point, I think 1.2 or 3 or 5 million. It's probably the biggest video viewers that I've had.
That's terrific.
Mhm.
It's a classic video, and Phil
Mhm.
Perry's. I mean, talk about you perform with so many wonderful stars. Other music, other
Oh yeah.
vocalists. And
Mhm.
you've been so selective in terms of how this comes together. It's really wonderful. So now that next, let's talk about briefly. Love is a Battlefield.
All
Why don't you
right.
tell us a little about that LP? Because I
Wow.
love that
Well,
one.
that
I
was
listened to that.
thank you. That was a little bit of a struggle with my record company. They didn't like that choice. They were like, "Why would you choose Love Is a Battlefield as a cover song?" And I was like, "Just trust me. I'm gonna change it to a ballad, and I'm gonna make it because I was having this thing about it was political because of how our world is divided. Everybody was
Mhm.
divided. Families are divided. At that time it was even a harsher, climate of that. And I just wanted to slow down the lyrics and make people understand that the song, the words "love is a battlefield" is something that we have to fight for love sometimes. And so if we just love each other, because it's like in spaces where, in places of the world where people, well, are not tarnished by uh, hatred and uh, I don't know what else you call it, just infighting and like we're doing. Just this separation is so horrible. Like I wanted to like kind of
Mhm.
bring just musically as much as I can do. So I can't change the world, but I can do a part in trying to make it change, and helping doing that song by Pat Benatar over again. I was blessed that the songwriters reached out to me and thanked me for returning it back to a ballad because it started off as a ballad before, and they liked it, they enjoyed it, so that was great. And then so I won my battle with the record company to choose that song, and I decided to make that the title track. That whole album, 10 covers. We had a great time with Justin Bieber cover, "As Long as You Love Me," uh, and so many great songs on that album, the Isley Brothers. And so I just enjoyed that. I enjoyed my covers albums because the songs that have a lot of meaning to me from growing up as a kid. To recreate them, or songs that I did the Justin Bieber song for my niece, who's huge Justin Bieber fan, so I did that for her, and so she was very happy with that. So yeah, so just like I just had a good time doing these records.
Yeah, this is what I asked you earlier, and
Hmm.
I still am I still remain curious. You picked Justin Bieber. I you know y- there's such variety in your songs, and like you said, you're your own A&R person. You always have been. So how do you
Hmm.
suddenly say, well, I'm going to do Justin Bieber over here, and
Right,
or
because
I
that
mean,
song is such a great melody. As long as you love me, we could be we could be homeless, we could be broke. As long as you love me, it is such a beautiful melody. It's like I just wanted to sing it, so that's why I really, chose that for her. Yeah.
so so basically, just something comes to you that you've heard, and you
Hmm. Like even my
okay.
song "Simpatico," I was just reading a book, and the word "simpatico" just like literally jumped out at me. I said, "What does simpatico mean?" Let me go look that up. So I looked up simpatico, and it was
Yeah.
like mind, body, and soul. Somebody has the same thought, the thinks the same way you do, and that's like always a desire of mine to be with someone who thinks like me, who wants to love the world like me, who is trying to be, trying to love on people like me. And so
Mhm.
that's how I came up with like mind, body, and soul. And it's how it's so amazing how when I something jumps at me and the inspiration comes and I can write so quickly. That song I wrote that I don't know how it didn't take me any time to write that one. The melody, and then I just took the recorder, whatever, I forgot what I had at the time, but took the recorder. I just started singing the song and writing the melody instantly, and then I just handed it to my producer, Rex Rideout. I said, Rex, I love this idea. Can we go this? And then he puts the great music behind it, and then the record was born, and that got a lot of airplay. That song, especially WHUR in DC, really played it a lot, and they really helped that record.
Look, again, to me, it's amazing to me how someone can have, and you mentioned it earlier. There's a lot of artists that may be very prominent, but they don't have the body of music that you have, and that's why I said you've given the world so much to be thankful for, because it wasn't just I'm trying to do a hit and I'm only going to work
Right,
on that, you know.
right, right. No, no,
So
no.
yeah.
Mhm.
How do you feel, since you've been so creative and you've chosen your own songs and worked with so many people to produce it. Now, how do you
Mhm.
feel when you look around the music landscape today? One of the things that really I've looked at, music has morphed. You started out, you had R&B, and R&B begat soul, and soul begat neo soul, and you know and
Mhm.
you know and so and jazz, went straight ahead. Jazz became soft jazz, and soft jazz, and there was
Mhm.
progressive jazz, and
Acid
okay.
jazz.
And when you look, and today, I think what's troubling to me, we can talk about all these mutations, and everything came out of a historical genre. Today, we have urban music, and is dominating the airwaves. It's kind of pushed out jazz. It's pushed out blues. It's pushed out so much R&B. And you know, where do you see the music industry going now? Like we talked
Mm-hmm.
earlier, you have streaming, you have sound bites. You don't hear a full LP. You hear an EP, 4 songs or 6 songs. Everything's
Mm-hmm.
been miniaturized,
Mm-hmm.
and streaming is probably the most miniaturization.
Mm-hmm.
And streaming has issues. Sheryl Crow, Neil Young, they pull their music from
Mm-hmm.
from being streamed because they said that the sound isn't it's not like analog, and when it's streamed
Mm-hmm.
it ruins the music and ruins the
Mm-hmm.
vocals. And so how being the kind of classical artist are, what do you think about the music industry today? And when you look around,
Wow. It's
do you think
it's
yeah.
it's little it's sad in a sense, but we're still here and we're still gonna make the music. The musicians are going to be here forever, and people are going to make the music. People are going to want the music. I mean, music is a part of our lives from the time you wake up in the morning to an alarm or hear birds chirping or whether you hum something or it's always music is always going to be around us, so we're always going to need it. So I think but of course the way to go now is to own yourself, to own your own thing, and put the music out there as best you can. Uh it just seems like that's the way of the world right now. Like it's going to be more organic than it's ever been, um, because people are just going to do it from their hearts and then get it out there from the best way they can. Uh, of course, there's still the big powers things that are still companies and stuff that still are doing their thing. But I think the more the world changes into um, a more loving environment, the music is going to follow suit. And I think that if people just put the music out the best way they can, it'll reach more people. Of course, social media is king, so that's the best way to start it out and get at that point. So anybody who wants to start out now, just hire yourself a really good attorney and go for it, because that's do all your social media yourself and hire a company, whatever if you can afford it, to get you out there. Um, because the more organic way of receiving the music, I think is a better way at this point. Um, and there's going to be, I'm sure technology is going to take us to a different place where, I mean, I don't know what else they can do besides streaming. I don't see any other way they can do the music besides putting it inside your eardrum. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's like, just trying to figure out a way to reach people is going to be a big deal. And I think this is the only way social media is going to be the only way to really get it out there at this point.
It's interesting you say that, considering that I have a radio station, and
Hmm.
it's and I find there's a major difference between
Hmm.
social media and radio, and the difference is,
Hmm.
correct me if you think I'm wrong.
Hmm.
When I go into social media, I go to find the things I like,
Right.
typically. Like, okay, but when I listen to radio, I don't know what's coming next. There may be
Right.
things I never thought of before. And
Right.
radio as a medium reaches so many more people that never had a thought about a
Hmm.
particular song or a particular genre, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden, bam,
Hmm.
it has meaning. So, I think
And
that
that's why
social
people are
media.
gravitating to you, because if people like you because of that very thing. The way they lost people is by controlling it, right? In a
Yeah.
sense where it had to be the same songs, this had to be the same vibe. Like we couldn't, there was a point, and so the smooth jazz. Like there was a point when I started in smooth jazz where I was up there, and I remember being CD 101 on a billboard with Anita Baker and Sade and Luther Vandross, and I like, how did I get up there? It was amazing, right?
Yeah.
And then a few years after that, I was in the back of a car. We were going to with Bluey. We were going to do a radio, it's a radio thing, like a round table thing. And the radio rep told Bluey, I was sitting in the back of the car, right? And they were in the front, and he said, they're going to phase out vocals on smooth jazz. It's too distracting to workers and stuff, so they don't want vocals anymore. And I'm like, huh? Like, hello, what am I supposed to do? Like, we told they phasing out vocals, So with stations like yourself and stations who are run this way, the way you're doing it, it's back to the organic and beautiful way that radio should have always been, where the people who love music are sharing the music that they love, and you're
Yes.
not conforming to, you know, certain things where you have to do this because somebody's over your head, looking over your shoulders, telling you, "Do you got to play this? You got to play that." You know, this the way you're doing it is the most beautiful way that it should be done. And you
Right.
know, I love the word, the term DJ. I don't like the radio personality because it just doesn't. It loses
I know.
what it should have been in the first place. You
Yeah.
know, the DJ is the one who's just like, you know, the disc jockey. Like, yeah, you know, this is what I like. This is hot. You got to hear this and that kind of thing. That was exciting. You know, coming up, I loved all of that. And so, so when I say social media is king, I'm saying it in the sense of that it's just that's the first vehicle, because, like I said earlier, I chose to do the video first, and then hope that radio will
Hmm.
come pick up after that,
Yeah.
so that they can expand it, um so that it could be more. Like I said, I keep using the word organic, but that's what it is. I wanted it more.
Hmm.
Uh, I wish I could find a better word, but that's what I'm trying to say. I wanted to kind of ease over to radio in that sense, instead of seeing that, you know, we're trying to force people to play something. I just wanted to be just like as it is, just natural, and let it fly that way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really terrific. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
I think that is what I wanted to try to do with Source Radio. You know,
Mhm.
I want to give people an alternative to the narrow range of music that commercially there is pushing everything to the side, and a lot
Mhm.
of people don't want to hear that narrow range. They want to hear more
Right.
variety. They want to, you know. So, you know, I think that's why I think where radio, I think, can be as effective or more effective than even social media, because
Mhm.
you know we just can put stuff out there, you know, that
Mhm.
we think people should be hearing, not what they,
Mm.
you know, what the radios, not what the record labels or promoters
Right.
say you have to hear, you know.
Right.
So yeah, yeah. So let me, I got another question for you here. 'Cause you just
Mhm.
reminding me of this.
Mm.
Let's talk about your bucket list. If you could pick
Oh,
any artist that you'd love to do a recording with or perform with, who would that be?
wow.
Who's out there that you'd love?
Um, I would. Wow, that's a good question. I would love to work with Gregory Porter. Gregory Porter. I would love to do
Okay.
a duet with him. Yeah, that would be really nice.
Okay, Gregory, if you're listening,
Come
you
on,
have an
Gregory. Well,
invitation.
I met him on a cruise, and he said, "Mesa, you in my household every day. I hear you in my house every day." I was like, "What? Why are we not singing together, sir? What is going on?"
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, okay. All right.
So hopefully one day
I
that'll
was
happen.
okay. Is there a number two on your bucket list besides Gregory Porter?
Uh, I think Maxwell would be nice.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
can.
that would be
Boy,
nice.
I can see that one. I can see
Yeah,
that one. Yeah.
that would
You know,
be real cool.
I'll tell you, when I think about your music, another person that comes to mind for me would be John
Mhm.
Legend.
Oh wow, that would be great.
Yeah, yeah. I
Oh
think that
wow.
would be a great, because your voices would
Hmm.
be so great together.
Oh, I
Um,
would love
uh,
that.
so you know, okay, you've done so much in your career. Looking forward,
Mhm.
do you see any changes in the kind of music that you want to do? Do you want to do you want to change genres? You know, I know the Clark
Definitely.
sisters. You know, yeah, like
Hmm.
the Clark sisters who've done gospel. They've been crossing over into R&B lately. So you know,
Hmm.
where do you see
Yeah.
yourself going in 5 years, 10 years from now?
Well, in the next 5 years, I'm going to do a straight ahead album, a country soul album, and a
Oh,
dance
wow.
record. Like
Oh,
definitely
wow.
the electronic realm, electronic house realm. So I'm definitely working on that. That's going to be fun because I'm going to change my whole image and look very different. You know, in that
Wow.
album. Then do a straight ahead album. Definitely a straight ahead album is long overdue. I was supposed to do one like 3 or 4 years ago. But I want to play with my R&B soul stuff a little bit longer, and then I'm probably gonna go into the straight ahead room. I have a lot of respect for the genre, so I want to make sure that it is pristine when I do it. I don't want to just play at it. I want to take my time. I want the right producers. I want the right musicians. I want the right songs. Um, I'm going to keep it tight to a 10 song album. Some very special things. So I want to write at least 2 or 3 of them new songs. And then the rest of them will be classic, straight ahead songs. So we'll see. I'm really excited about that. I have some great mentors who are going, especially Carl Griffin is one of the mentors that's going to help me
Oh,
choose the
wow. Oh,
songs.
terrific.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, look, it's been absolutely delightful,
Thank
having you
you.
on. I want to put something else up here. Let me wherever it went. Let me pull it up right now, so everybody knows where to be able to get you.
Okay.
Here it
Oh
comes.
wow, thank you. Yeah.
You can talk about this for a minute or two, and tell
Oh
people
yeah.
what do you do on Instagram that's different than Facebook and different than Twitter?
Really nothing. Facebook is the real thing I'm on. I do, of course, on Sunday nights I do my Masa's Kitchen Karaoke Sundays
I
at 7:30
Yeah, I
p.m. I've
love
been doing that for
I
six
love
years now, and
yeah,
yeah, it's been a long time. We were doing that pre-pandemic, doing it for a long time,
but
4 years before the pandemic. So
but
we've been doing it
that
for a
really
minute.
took off. That really took off during the pandemic.
Yeah, it
I
did.
started
Then
watching. I, I
oh
watched
really?
almost every episode you did
Really?
during the pandemic.
Oh, thank you. That's good. And I get a lot of at the shows now. People's like, "Oh, you got me through the pandemic." It was like, and that meant a lot. It means a lot to me because I remember um, when the pandemic started, and I came on. We ended one night. It was like 97,000 people at watch. I'm like, what? Where did people come from? It's amazing. And so then
Yeah,
Facebook
yeah.
started shadow banning me. Though now I have to fight to get 10,000 a week now because they've shadow banned me so badly because they don't understand that it's my music I'm singing. So they mute me. They do
Oh,
whatever they can to mess me up,
isn't
and it's
that
just so disconcerting. But I'm trying to
yeah,
fix it. We've tried to get attorneys to fix it. We try to do everything, and they just I don't know what's going to fix. But I'm gonna try to do my best to make it happen. If not, then I'll try to develop an app so people can just
yeah?
go straight to the app.
That is so crazy with Facebook. I got a friend who owns a few radio stations in the UK, Dr. G, and he does jazz and coffee, and it gets through it's 3 million listeners, and
Mhm.
he had his own band. He used to be the studio band for Tom Jones, for one, and several other really big stars. And so he
Mm.
plays his own music, and Facebook shuts him down.
Oh wow! No, it's
Yeah,
crazy. They send me emails. Oh, we shut you down because you played music by Maysa. I'm like, what?
yeah, that's
It's
what they
like
did
it's
with
so
him.
frustrating.
That's
It's so
what they would do
frustrating.
with him, and he would say, "I have the rights to my own music." Excuse me.
Right, right, and that's it. And I keep saying it every time I dispute it. I have the rights and permissions. It's like so weird to me. This is the thing. If you're the artist, they need to fix that. Facebook really has to fix that. If you're the artist, you're doing nothing but helping to sell the music to help these people make money. So why are you
Exactly.
messing with me? It's like it's so surreal. Like you're doing this backwards. What are you getting
Yeah,
out of it? You get a couple pennies, and instead of me singing these songs, and people go buy the record, and then you make money, real money that way. It's just
it,
crazy. I'm like, it's so
it makes
frustrating.
yeah, it really is. Well, the problem is they have algorithms, and the algorithms pick this up. It's not real people who are making these decisions. It's mathematical models that are making these decisions. So,
Hmm.
then you have to try to find a real person to interpret the algorithm to give you the rights back to your own music. I mean, it's
Right,
nuts.
right. It's
It,
crazy.
yeah, it is. Well,
So
look,
I don't
okay,
know how to
so
fight. Try.
well, people should tune into Mace's Kitchen. I mean, that is a great show. Great. I got a couple of great recipes from there.
I'm gonna do more of that. Actually, I'm going to do more of that. I'm gonna do I have a headset here that I'm gonna so I'm gonna start cooking and singing at the same time. Let's go
Oh,
ahead.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And what can people expect to see on Twitter?
I don't go on Twitter much. I have to be honest about that. I might go on to
Okay.
promote something, but I don't understand how it works. I can't follow the feed. I don't know how it works. I'm still confused, you know. And then a lot of people leaving Twitter, so I might as well leave too. I don't know. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, that's funny because because my radio station, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and people say, what are you doing on Twitter this week? And I said, nothing. I don't even
Okay,
know how to use Twitter.
right.
You know, I have other people do it.
Okay, I know that's right. I don't know how to have a clue.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Mhm.
Mesa, this has been delightful, and I
Thank
really
you, honey. Thank
appreciate
you
you
so
giving
much.
us the time. Yeah, and
Thank you for having me.
everybody be sure now, be sure
Mhm.
to to listen to um, Mesa's best, no, newest out there, from Music for Your Soul to whatever, and
Mhm.
they can find that at your website. Um,
Uh-huh.
and
There's links
you have
on
a
my
beautiful
on
website.
Mesa.com. Oh, thank you, honey.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You have a beautiful website.
Thank you, sweetie.
And again,
Appreciate it.
and again, that's if everybody wants to, it's just Mesa.com. So you can
Mhm.
go tune in and check it out. So Mesa,
Mhm.
wonderful. I hope you'll come back and
Thank
join us
you.
again some other time.
I will. Definitely
And
when the record comes out, definitely gonna talk about them 19
please,
songs we talk about.
please, because we'll play all of them for you. It's not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Love to,
I
love
appreciate
to,
it.
love to. Well, look, you have a wonderful evening. I want to
You
thank you for being
too.
here, and
Thank you
we'll
so
talk
much.
again soon. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.